Hello, welcome to the Nothing to See Here podcast. I'm Hannah,
I'm Frankie.
And I'm Amanda.
and welcome to our first ever episode. Frankie,
Wow, hype intro.
Amanda,
Yeah.
what?
Nothing. I thought Amanda was
Okay.
gonna cut in with something. Sorry, go on. You were gonna ask
Okay.
a question or say
Yeah.
something.
Yes, I was. I was going to ask you to. Can you guys name me a classic Gothic literature vampire?
Ooh, like classic? Like
Yes.
classic as in old classic, or like classic as in, man, that book's a classic.
I was like Victorian era Gothic literature.
Oh, yeah, Dracula. Or
Dracula.
Carmen.
So
Is it
you've
Carmen?
stolen the one that I
Is it
know.
Carmen? There's another one. Is it Carmen? It's
Carmilla.
Carmilla.
Thank you.
I know that only because I literally just read your post.
Oh, beautiful. I love Carmilla. Did you know that both her and Dracula are gay?
I did know that. Except
Only because I told you.
yeah, only because you told me, and I also go on TikTok and Tumblr. So
Fair.
So, just like the Babadook is gay, Dracula is also gay.
Dracula is a bisexual icon.
If anybody is here for the Christian parenting podcast,
One, you spelled
place.
the name wrong.
Yeah, you spelled it absolutely wrong. And two, wrong place. But we hope you stay because we're way better.
Please stay. We have a fun time here.
We are nothing to see here spelled Hear.
Yeah.
Yes, correct.
Yeah, it's a play on words.
We have no parenting tips. We are broke, single, childless, millennial Gen Z cuss babies who can barely keep ourselves alive.
To be fair, I do have some parenting tips, even though I'm not a parent, because I worked in daycare for a little bit. But
not what today's podcast episode is
absolutely
about.
not. You guys are gonna have to like listen in for like maybe a couple months.
Yeah. Before we get into the main topic today, Hannah.
Yes.
Which you have chosen.
Mm-hmm.
We should give the conceit of the podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a really good job, Frankie.
Yeah, I've done a couple of these, so.
Oh, really? I've only been a guest on a couple of those.
I've never done any podcast. You're going to have to.
That is a lie and a half. You were on the wrestling podcast
as a guest.
Yeah,
but we just watched the Royal Rumble for like an hour and a half.
Yeah, that was just like a live reaction kind of thing.
I didn't really do anything.
Anyway, the conceit of this podcast.
Today, we're going to be talking about the OG vampires, those classic Gothic literature baddies we all know and love. Dracula, Carmilla. We're even going to be talking about Anne Rice vampires a little bit, but we're going to be focusing mainly in the Gothic literature Victorian realm. And we're going to tell you why they're gay. Because they are. There are facts. You can go through those beautiful Gothic literature books and you can find straight facts that they are homosexuals.
Yes.
Before we get too far in, though, yeah. Why are we doing this podcast?
Because just like everything that I have asked you to do, I said one day jokingly, "Hey, we should do a podcast." And it was to Frankie and Hannah was like, "Hells yeah, we should do a podcast." And Frankie was like, "Man, I've done podcasts. We could do a podcast." And then we didn't do it for like a year.
Yeah.
No, this is the second round of we should do a podcast.
Yeah, the original, this time we're actually doing it.
Yes.
The original idea did come because Hannah, who has a tremendous blog, Reading Has Ruined My Life.
readinghasruinedmylife.com. Please go visit. We have a fun time there.
Once a year brings me and Amanda and another one of our friends together to debate who would win in an all-out death match between horror literature villains and monsters.
Yes. It's a great time. Go find out who would win between Dracula and Frankenstein's monster. That was the first. That was probably the best thing I've ever written.
And our insane ramblings there led to Amanda asking, can we do a podcast together?
Mostly my insane ramblings. Everybody else is pretty normal.
And originally, it was going to just be a literature podcast.
Correct.
But I don't know enough about literature, and I very rarely have time to read. So I made
here
this.
we are.
I made the suggestion that when we do get together to record these episodes, once every 3 weeks, each of us will take the reign with a topic. And Hannah won our little game to determine who gets the first topic.
I'd like to let the viewers know how we decided who was gonna go first on this. So Frankie
it was a very scientific method.
Super scientific. Frankie was over at my house and we were talking and he's like, do we really want to do this? And I was like, absolutely. So Frankie texted Hannah. He's like, okay, we're doing a podcast. And my mom, I live with my mom because I'm poor and I, graduated from grad school about a year ago. So no judgments, no shame. But Frankie goes to my mom, whose name is Monique, and you might actually, if you stay tuned with us a little bit, I'm sure you'll hear her voice input at sometimes.
Just a scream from beyond.
Yeah, just like the scream from a void. But the void is normally the living room. Yeah. He was like, Monique, pick a number between 1 and 20. And he was like, all right, Hannah, pick a number between 1 and 20. Whoever gets the closest goes first. And
the correct number was 1.
Well, we did this twice.
Yeah, we had to do it twice because Hannah and I tied, and we're both 1 away.
Oh, really?
Yes, that's why we did it twice.
Yeah, we did it twice, and I lost outright the first round. So Frankie's like, all right, Monique, do it again. And she picked 1, and Hannah had 1. So that is how our scientific method goes. Normally it's either rock, paper, scissors, shoots, or it's pick a number. So
every 3 weeks, one of us will come with a topic, and then occasionally we'll have some bigger projects that we want to do if there's something we really want to do with that. But for our first little launch of the show, we're going to be uploading an episode every day for the first week. And then after that, we will be a weekly podcast.
Yeah, don't get your hopes up. We can't do this. That's not sustainable to do.
It won't be daily.
It will not be a daily upload, no.
We will work.
Yes.
We're glad that you love our lovely voices, but no.
No, absolutely
no.
Not. Unless this podcast starts to like hit some numbers and I can like
we can all quit our day jobs.
I can quit my day job, but I'm a therapist. I actually really like my day job, and man, I'm like $90,000 in like student loan debt. So no.
Yeah, so daily for the first week and then weekly after that, you'll learn to deal with it.
Yeah, you'll get used to it.
But now, Hannah, it's your turn again to take the reins because
thank you.
We
got gay vampires to talk about.
We have gay vampires.
Absolutely, gay vampires.
Oh yes, they're all gay.
Even the one from I read your post before we started recording because I hadn't actually read your post.
Oh, thank you. Yes, if you want to pretty much read this podcast episode, you can go to my blog, readinghasruinedmylife.com, and you will find from back in June a post called The OG Literary Vampires. Yeah, they're gay. And you can just read this post or read this episode.
It's a great post.
It is.
I read this post when it came out.
Did you actually read it when it went up?
I have a little thingy set on my phone so that I can read some of your posts. Yeah.
I feel so loved.
Yeah, I didn't. I'll take the love away.
Well, yeah.
You read it now, so
I did read it now. I don't read all of your posts. I'll admit that, Hannah.
You have like 3 years to catch up on, Frankie.
I try to read most of your posts, but I don't read all of them.
Oh, thank you.
I think I've only read one the minute I saw that it was put out.
Was it the versus match?
It was a
No,
versus
it
match.
wasn't the
That was a
versus
good
match.
one.
It was not the versus match. It was your Animorphs post.
Oh my god, yeah.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Fucking love the Animorphs.
Oh.
I remember you talking about that too.
I
We
was
might
so
have to do an
Okay.
Animorphs deep dive one day.
I was so excited for your Animorphs post. You have no idea.
That is one of my most popular posts.
But yeah. Sorry.
We have divulged.
This is what this podcast is going to be. Please get used to that. If you want something linear, wrong place.
Maybe try the Christian parenting podcast.
Yeah. We haven't listened to it because we're not Christian parents. But maybe
Hopefully we
there's-
can be friends with them.
Yeah, like I don't
Hopefully
have
they
anything
don't they don't
wrong.
hate us after this.
Yeah.
But I read your post, and does this all vampires being gay include, as you included in the post, the vampire from Scooby Doo?
Oh. Okay.
Wait. Pause for a minute.
It's one of
The
the little
vampire
gifts.
from Scooby Doo, like the vampire from Scooby Doo, like the movie, like the Vampire Down Under movie.
No, it's from one of the early episodes.
No, like the original Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? They
Oh.
met Dracula in like
Oh,
an
is that
episode.
is that actually Dracula? I thought it was just
I'm
a random
pretty sure it's
vampire.
supposed to be Dracula.
Oh,
Oh.
well, that's
then
not
he
as
is-
fun.
I mean, he has a little flair to him. He could be.
Yeah, they also met Batman. All right, so, but if we were talking the Scooby Doo movie, like The Legend of the Vampire, which by the way, I have a candle called The Legend of the Vampire that I made Frankie smell, and it's Scooby Doo themed. But if we
love
were
that.
talking about that, absolutely, he's totally gay. Because
Which one? Like the big boy or his minions?
the all of them.
All of them. Okay.
Absolutely all of them. Have you seen some of their outfits?
That is fair. That is a lot of makeup to do.
Yeah, it's so much makeup. Yeah. They're all gay.
See,
They're
this is
all
just
gay.
confirming my point
Yeah.
that all vampires are gay.
Yeah. They are the Rocky Horror drag show dropouts and decided, you know what, instead we didn't get picked for the Rocky Horror show, so you know what, we're just gonna be evil vampires instead. That's what that happened. That's how that happened. Yeah.
You know, in my list of ideas, I have the like 4 original direct to DVD VHS Scooby-Doo films.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like this is just telling me I need to cover that sooner rather than later.
Oh man, I could talk about the cyber chase.
Should we do
fucking
like a
day.
big 4-part series on the original 4 direct to DVD Scooby-Doo movies?
I
Chime
have an
in the
idea
comments.
about that.
Review.
I have an idea about that actually, and we should talk about that afterwards.
Okay. I like this idea.
Stay tuned.
Now that we are like 30 minutes behind schedule on our first ever episode,
Oh, that happens.
literary vampires.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know when they first appeared?
I do. I do know this, Hannah,
Ooh,
and not
ooh,
from
ooh.
your post.
Oh, do you? Ooh.
I read a book a year
Oh.
ago called The Science of Monsters that talks about. Well, wait, sorry. I have a question now to clarify your question.
Okay.
Are we talking about like fictional literary vampires or when they believed vampires were real?
They kind of coincide.
Because the first reporting of them is actually in 1100.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's way early.
Okay. Okay, yeah, my answer and your answer do not match.
Oh, okay.
But I think my answer is more like kind of how we know them today to an
Yeah.
extent.
Yeah, probably.
Mhm.
But the 1100s, yes.
Yeah, so the 1100 vampire, there's a historian, an English historian, William of Newburgh. This is all from a book by Matt Kaplan called The Science of Monsters.
We'll be adding that to my Amazon cart later tonight.
Yes, it's a great book that talks about how like the science of like why people believed in these monsters and how they influenced pop culture and how
Mhm.
actual culture influenced them back.
Okay.
But it talks about how in 1100, in the late 1100s, they didn't name them as vampires, but they tell the story of this guy, this evil guy who died from a fall after he found his wife having an affair, and then every night he would emerge from his grave, specifically not dig out, emerge from his grave,
Yum.
go around beating people up.
So my notes have something pretty similar.
That's so good.
And it also goes into in Poland. They had in 1591 there were reports of a shoemaker who killed himself by cutting himself in the neck, and then he would come back to haunt those around him by just like pressing against their necks in the night.
Oh, kinky.
Yeah.
Very sexual.
And then
I really just like the idea of like, my wife cheated on me, so I'm gonna come back from the dead and just beat the shit out of everybody.
he would also kill people. He did end up killing people, and he was then stopped as being a vampire by two boys who I think he killed their dad. Yeah, he did kill their dad. And so the two brothers, they went in and unburied his body, and they found like blood around his mouth, and so they just like kind of beat up his body and stabbed it and burned it and cut it apart. And the latest one that they have in 1746 was in France, where people who have been dead for several years were reported to be walking and infesting the villages. And this is the first instance of sucking the blood of their close ones, making them become ill and eventually die. And the way they're seen as vampires now, even though they didn't have the name, was they would dig up the graves of the monsters, find them with blood on their lips. And to stop them from being vampires, they would chop off their heads, drive stakes through their hearts. And my favorite method is jamming bricks into their decaying mouths to keep them from biting anything.
I always love when archaeologists find like mass graves and they're like, this was a vampire burial, and we can tell because there's bricks.
What I think is really fucking funny though was that nobody took the logical explanation for the blood thing, right? Tuberculosis was a thing, right?
Yes.
Coughing up blood. So that's not a surprise that there would be blood on somebody's lips.
They didn't know that back then in the 1100s.
All they knew was she was dying from the consumption.
At least in like the 1700s, we should have gotten somewhere close to that.
Even then, they didn't know that like when you die and your skin begins to shrivel, it makes your nails grow and your teeth grow and your hair grow.
It doesn't make them grow. It just makes
well, it doesn't make them. It just appears that they've grown.
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
Yeah,
like,
so
they don't actually grow.
They thought they had long claw-like fingernails.
And long canine teeth.
But also, these vampires didn't. The funniest thing is, while they're not named vampires, these ones, I use the word emerge because, as the book says, they never dug themselves out of the graves. Because when they went to the grave, this isn't like Dracula where he has his coffin with him.
Correct.
They're actually
I know where this is going.
In the grave. So when they went to the grave, they were undisturbed. They would just somehow emerge out of it.
Yeah, because that's so normal. Hey, has anybody ever heard of the term sleep paralysis? Oh man, I saw a face in the middle of the night. It kind of looked like George.
Again,
but
in the
dead for
1100s.
We didn't know that was witchcraft back then.
Yeah.
So my research has. Go ahead, Amanda.
No, I wonder if I like had a time machine and I went back in time and like
they're burning you at the stake because you're a witch.
Yeah, I am a witch. I am a witch, but like if I hid that part of me, right? If I went back in time or something.
No, you'd be killed for going back, like just appearing. What the fuck? What are you talking about?
No. I'd like appear like in a desert or something, or like in the forest or something, and then I'd like get a change of clothes or something. I'd like knock somebody out.
Just go back with period accurate costume.
Yeah, but regardless, I wonder I wonder what would happen if I was just like, they're like, oh man, George came out of the grave, and I was like, how? Do you see anything wrong with the grave? Like, if I was just logical about the whole thing.
Immediately discounted, by the way.
I know.
Witchcraft.
I know. Not even witchcraft. They'd just be like, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. And then it
Well,
turns
you're
out.
a woman trying to be logical, so you're witchcraft.
Ugh. What if Frankie went back?
Frankie could become a millionaire.
Yeah.
So you have to go back with Frankie and be like a sibling group.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the only way we're getting out of this.
All right. Go back. Where are we? Continue.
Right at the top of my notes still.
Okay.
So I want to preference this by saying I have a degree in English literature, but I am by no means an expert. And when I was doing research for my original post, I did good research. Like I fact checked it as well as I could. But we're looking at for like literature, like Dracula, Carmilla, all that goodness. And so the first time that the vampire, like I could find to be like that term was coined was in the mid 1700s in a poem by Heinrich August Ossenfelder.
Did you
And
pronounce that correctly?
I really hope I did. I apologize if I butcher any of these names because there's some in here that I know I'm not going to get right.
I really liked I like his last name. What is it?
Ossenfelder.
Yeah, that's real good.
Mm-hmm. So there was a poem just called The Vampire, and the vampires in this poem were really simplistic in nature. They would break into the homes of their relatives and try to kill those inside. And this poem originated during a vampire epidemic. The peanut gallery has nothing.
What do you want me to say? A vampire epidemic. Okay, that's like today if somebody's like, "Oh, a zombie epidemic," right? A couple
Yeah,
crazies
pretty
would
much.
come out. Yeah, a couple of crazies would come out of the woodwork and just be like, "Oh," but aside from that, I got nothing. It's kind of like the conspiracy theory thing whenever like they tested the new alarm system and everybody's like, "Yeah, if you got the COVID vaccine, it's going to like turn us into zombies because it'll like jumpstart like they put something in the COVID vaccine and the sound frequency is going to jumpstart it and then we're all going to be zombies." Like that's the equivalent of like today what a vampire conspiracy is back then when this was written. That's what the peanut gallery has. At least my peanut in my gallery has.
Yeah, but they like believed that shit back then. And it wasn't just fringe weirdos.
Okay, and a lot of fucking people believed it too, especially here, right?
Yeah, but America's full of fucking freaks. So, I mean, we're not the best country to dictate.
You know what fucking made me sorry, this will be my last thing on this. The thing that I thought was really fucking hilarious was that people put their phone, wrapped it in foil and put it in the microwave when the only thing you had to do to not get the alert was to turn off your phone.
Would you like to hear a quote?
I'd love to hear a quote.
You want to hear a quote from the vampire poem?
Absolutely.
As
Am I gonna
softly
do that?
thou art sleeping, to thee shall I come creeping, in thy life's blood drain away. It's the first literary appearance of a vampire.
You think if like
I'm gonna come creeping.
I do like I shall come a creeping.
What, Frankie?
I was gonna say, you think of like you think they're happy about this, or this is from the
Vampires?
perspective of the vampire, isn't it? Oh, I just
No,
got
this is from well, I guess technically because it does say I.
yeah, I shall come creeping.
Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah,
I was
that's
gonna
the
sing it.
first. It's very simplistic. It's just I'm gonna come, I'm gonna eat you, and it's gonna be in the dead of night.
I'm gonna be creepy about it.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna come in through those windows. So after this, we move away to the Victorian era. And this is when the vampires we know today are really formed because you have so many pieces of vampiric literature from Bram Stoker's Dracula to Penny Dreadfuls in the weekly daily paper. And you have specifically The Vampire by John William Pidori is how I'm going to attempt to say the name, but I do not think that is right. But you have also simplistically titled The Vampire, where vampires are aristocratic, they're classy, they're seductive, they're wealthy. They're also undead creatures of the night with an aversion to sunlight who just so happen to drink the blood of the living and are able to shapeshift and mind control people.
That's very sexy, though, I will say.
Yeah, as you do. I
Listen,
just assume that
I
about me.
am somehow on smutty book talk, and
Don't say somehow like you don't know how, Hannah.
you're
Don't.
right. I know how I am on smutty book talk. I don't want that in the final cut.
Nope, you don't get a choice.
That's making the final cut. That's like me saying, "Oh, somehow I'm on wrestling TikTok." We all know why. We all like, come on.
You, the only thing that gets cut are things that are gonna get us sued. Okay.
Okay, so I'm on the smutty
that.
book talk, and I know that all those traits make some girls go gaga.
And I gotta say, it's the location that they choose where the vampires drink from.
Oh, the
Very
neck, absolutely. The neck, the wrist, yeah.
wrist, yeah. No one's like biting in on the stomach.
No.
Well, to be fair, right? I'm coming in with my I work at a hospital type thing.
Oh,
So
with medical
the
knowledge.
blood is the strongest in those areas, right?
You could use the femoral artery.
You're right, and
I was gonna say you just want a good artery.
Yeah, and you could definitely use like an ankle or something.
Yeah, but see, that's the ankle is the least sexy location.
It's still not unsexy. All right.
There
like,
are
if I
sexier
kiss
places.
my ankle, like I'd still be a little bit like, whoa. My feet though, you're getting weird, and I don't like that. Could be clammy, could be smelly. No. But right, I get that. But it just so happens that for whatever reason, the most sexy places on the human body tend to be wherever our blood is the most powerful.
That's where the vampires want to go.
Yeah.
But I haven't proved that they're gay yet.
No, you just proved they're sexy.
I've proved that vampires are sexy and they have a long history. That's all I've proved.
That's it. You got that.
So as vampires evolved in literature over time, they began as those simple zombie-like almost creatures. And then as they evolved, they gained higher social classes and a more seductive nature until they became rife with dark desires and invisible secrets. Would you like to hear a quote
I'm
from?
always down for a quote.
You want a good quote? I got a good long quote for you from Carmilla.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes, after an hour of apathy, my strange and beautiful companion would take my hand and hold it with a fond pressure, renewed again and again, blushing softly, gazing in my face with languid and burning eyes, and breathing so fast that her dress rose and fell with the tumultuous respiration. It was like that of a lover. It embarrassed me. It was hateful and yet overpowering, and with gloating eyes she drew me to her, and her hot lips traveled along my cheek in kisses, and she would whisper, almost in sobs, "You are mine. You shall be mine, and you and I are one forever."
Okay. Is the narrator a woman?
Yes, that comes from the protagonist of the story, Lauren.
Super gay.
Mm-hmm. Do you want another quote? This one's from Dracula.
Oh, my boy. Yeah, let's go.
Don't touch him. He's mine.
Oh, my God. Jeez, I won't. Calm down.
Oh, my God.
That's from Dracula to his brides over.
What? Okay, what's the context?
For Dracula?
Yeah. What?
So you know the main character of Dracula is, well, one of the main characters, I should say, Jonathan Harker.
Okay.
He is Dracula's solicitor, because Dracula in the beginning is moving from Transylvania to England.
Right.
So Jonathan is in Dracula's castle, and Dracula's kind of like keeping him hostage.
Full beans.
And one day, Jonathan stumbles across 3 women in the castle who he's
Right.
never seen before. They're Dracula's 3 brides. And then they start trying to seduce him to eat him. And Dracula bursts in with, "Don't touch him, he's mine."
Ah.
Mm-hmm.
So it could be, right. Again, I'm just over here. Okay. It could be, he's like, nah, nah, nah. I'ma eat him. But it also could be, no, I'ma seduce the fuck out of him. And then I'ma eat him. I'm gonna choose to go with the I'ma seduce the fuck out of him and then eat him one.
That is one of the most quoted lines when proving Dracula is a bisexual icon.
What are your thoughts here, Franklin?
My thoughts?
Yeah. Do you have
I don't
any?
know. I don't remember this. I have a question now again for
Okay. Okay.
are his brides like they're not vampires, are they?
No,
Yes.
they are, but they're not really ever shown much in the original novel.
They're just kind
Because, spoiler alert, at the end of Dracula, they are found in coffins and killed.
Oh my god.
Mm-hmm. You see them once in the beginning in this scene, and then you don't see them again till the end.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, major spoiler alert there.
But
Yeah,
to
I
be
think
fair, if you haven't read Dracula, it's been out since you've been alive. So,
I've only been alive for 26 years. There's a lot of books in the world, Amanda.
okay, and if it's not on top of your list, well, I'm sorry. How is Animorphs on your list, but you haven't read Dracula?
Have you seen an Animorphs cover? They look fucking sick as hell.
Jesus fucking Christ.
My favorite is the one where the girl turns into a rat.
I knew you were gonna
Yeah.
say that one.
There's one where I think one of them turns into a fucking butterfly. What a weird choice. But all right.
Back to
Regardless,
vampires. So, did you notice anything that both those quotes have in common?
they're gay.
They have homoerotic subtext. They're also hella predatory.
Yeah, but that's like, have we seen Twilight? Okay. Twilight's not exactly not predatory.
You're not wrong with that.
Right.
But
Okay.
we're
I
not
think
talking Twilight, at least not now.
I'm just saying it's like predatory behavior, not like the bad kind, but like a little creeping here and there.
No, it's a little bad. He's
Yeah.
109 years old going after a 17-year-old. Talk about an age gap.
Okay, I'm just saying predatory behavior for whatever reason, like the creeping and time stuff like that. For some reason, it gets people all warm and fuzzy, right? 50 Shades of Grey definitely had some predatory behavior as well. Not like predatory in like the pedo stance like Dracula's going here, but I think that's just like the vibe for some girls. I don't know. I'm trying to remember back when I was in middle school and I was like
Tell you
big
this.
into
I'm gonna give you a
Twilight.
hint here, Amanda.
What?
Dracula wasn't written for middle school girls. So
I get that. I get that.
yeah, I wanna point that out.
I'm not
Bram Stoker wasn't worried about what the eighth graders were talking about on the playground.
all I'm saying is that I'm not surprised
Yeah.
that they find like people find predatory behavior somewhat sexy. Do I? No. Am I surprised by it? No.
I mean, you are somewhat on a track.
Thank you.
You're like, I see the connection. I don't know if my own brain is making the connection. Maybe it's because I don't like predators.
Okay, I think predatory is like the wrong word, right? Because whenever we say predatory, right? We're thinking like, preying on people, which in a sense this is, right?
Well, in the vampire context we're talking
Right.
about today. Yes,
Absolutely. Yeah.
yes. Because
Yeah.
that
But
predatory behavior plays a big part
right. And I
in
think
our
it's that
stories.
preying thing, right? The overprotectiveness type thing that people find sexy. Not so much like the predatory, like pedophile type thing, like the age gap thing. People don't tend to find that sexy. Um, but it's more so like the overprotectiveness, the preying on somebody, the power struggle in the relationship. There we go.
I
Right.
mean, you kind of just hit the nail on the head there, because in my notes, we go back to Carmilla, for example. The
Mm-hmm.
titular character is this beautiful woman who seemingly is in need of help, but that's just a character she plays in order to lure the protagonist into a sense of safety.
Mm-hmm.
In reality, she wants to dominate Lauren, the protagonist, through seduction.
Mm-hmm. Man, I'm good. It took me a while to get there, but I'm good.
I knew you had it in you, Amanda.
Yeah. By the way, we don't condone pedophiles.
So yeah, the whole story of Carmilla is pretty predatory, and Joseph Sheridan LeFanu is using homosexual subtext to other Carmilla, and Bram Stoker does that too a little bit. Now, when
Mm-hmm.
I say othering, do you two know what I'm talking about?
Why do I feel like we're going down a rabbit hole again? When you say
We are
other,
not. I am just, making a little pit stop.
okay, othering. Oh man, I get some weird vibes about that word now. I'm afraid it's gonna be something gross.
Not
I
gross.
mean,
Well, it is.
it's not great. It's not gross in the sense I think you're thinking of it, but it's not great.
Okay,
It's the
tell me what
innate
it is.
it's the innate human fear of the other, those who are not you.
Yes.
Oh, that's very
Yes, yes.
similar to like the fear of the unknown, right? The unknown of like what others are thinking, right?
They're kind of in the same vein. So,
Yeah. Okay.
othering refers to the act of treating someone as though they are not part of a group and are different in some way. And that definition comes from the Cambridge Dictionary.
Um, okay. Don't like that because that kind
No,
of sounds like just straight on like prejudice or some segregation shit.
exactly. Because who was othered throughout history?
Fair.
I'm asking.
Oh,
That was a
um,
question. Who was othered throughout history?
women.
Women.
I mean, there's a lot more than women.
Okay.
I believe
Minority groups.
I believe in you,
Minority.
Amanda. What's the episode about?
Oh, gay people.
Yeah, minority groups. Literally any race other than white. They've all been othered. Yeah, Amanda, you were right when you said women being othered.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But for today's topic, we're only discussing the LGBTQIA plus community.
Which I am a part of. So,
Everyone uses othering.
Yes, exactly.
Every form of media.
Oh my
I'm gonna
goodness,
bring
yes.
this up now.
oh, okay.
But back in the 70s and
Ooh.
80s, in American wrestling, you
Oh,
know,
my
you have bad
fucking
guys and good guys, right? The bad guys were the Japanese and the Russians.
Don't like that.
Any foreigner was the bad guy.
I was gonna say, wasn't that like didn't Hulk Hogan hate like Mexicans?
Well, Hulk Hogan is a racist in real life,
Yeah, but like
but
wasn't his
like
like character?
no, his character didn't. The character would be the foreigner, would be the bad guy because they're the other.
Mm-hmm.
In most territories, that's how it worked. And even in Japan, that's how they did it. The white wrestlers would be the villain.
It's about damn time. I'm sorry, as a
But
white person,
but when people are prejudiced, it's an easy way to create a villain.
that's fair.
It's not a good way to create a villain,
It's a
No.
horrible way to create a villain.
but it is easy.
It
It's
is the
very
easiest way.
absolutely.
Mhm. But we're othering, as I said, we're othering the LGBTQIA plus community in vampire literature because a
Well,
lot
we're
of
not.
well,
We're
no, we
not.
are allies here.
But we're
Bram-
Loud,
talking.
proud allies.
Bram
We are
Stoker
talking
is othering
But
them.
yeah, you guys are allies.
Victorian
in this.
Victorian authors of vampire literature are othering the LGBTQ community. Nothing to see or
Alphabet,
hear is
alphabet.
loud, proud allies. So, as I said, during the Victorian era, when many of these vampire novels were written and published, do you know that there were laws in the UK that could sentence you to death if you were gay?
I did know that.
I did, yes.
It's absolutely horrible. And it only got changed in 1861, where after that, if you were found guilty of being gay, you wouldn't die. You wouldn't lose your life.
You
But
just went to prison.
You went to prison for 10 years. So
And they force you into hard labor in those prisons.
Mm-hmm.
oh yes, yes, yes. This
Which
law, it's what Oscar Wilde famously got in prison for. Now, Frankie, you kind of already touched on this, but authors needed reasons for the public to dislike the vampire characters. They needed to make the vampires the villain. So authors used anti-Semitism, racial tensions, and homophobia to other vampire characters.
Yeah, because they just couldn't write well. But otherwise, yeah, why be a good author when you can be a racist and a homophobe? But I do see they had to create them as the villains because otherwise they're just too fucking cool. The vampires.
Yeah,
Dracula's a
Yeah.
fucking dope.
yeah.
Anna, you know what this means, right? It means Frankie really likes Twilight. And
I've
he just
never
has
read Twilight. I've never read Twilight. Those vampires, not cool. The dorkiest vampires ever. One of
You
the
don't want this is the skin of a killer. Tell
Yeah,
me what's not cool about that.
yeah, come on.
Christ,
They
don't-
sparkle? What the
don't
fuck,
s-
Frankie?
Don't say these words to me, Hannah.
Say the words to him.
Frankie, this is the skin of a killer.
Say it out loud.
Vampire.
Ugh.
This is not getting cut in the final.
No,
Please
this
do
isn't.
not
This is
cut
it.
entertaining. There. It's just vampires are cool in these old books.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, the authors needed to make the proper and normal reader of the time feel uncomfortable with the vampires.
I guess they didn't expect how the tables will change in the 21st
Oh,
century.
how the tables have turned.
Yeah. Now everybody's rooting for the vampires.
Now everyone's rooting for the vampires.
One of my favorite musicals is The Dance of the Vampires. The German version, not the American version that sucked, that was on Broadway, starring what's his name from Phantom of the Opera.
The
The
Phantom
original
himself.
version.
Nice. Andrew Lloyd Webber. Damn.
No,
What a
no.
get. What a get.
Michael Crawford.
I was gonna say you have to be more specific because there's been many phantoms.
No. The actual original Michael Crawford.
Yes.
No, that sucked. I'm talking about like the German production. I think it's Tanz der Vampire or something like that. So cool, so good. But yeah, no, everybody now roots for the vampires.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're not gonna find any villainous gay vampires in modern day vampire literature.
No, there's Vladimir Todd.
Oh God.
Oh, come on. I had to bring him up.
I forgot about him, but
I still have
you
his
were
books.
correct.
Who
So
the fuck?
you've never read a Vladimir Todd book?
If you thought Twilight was bad,
Never
Yeah.
heard of Vladimir Todd. You
Vladimir
just
Todd
say
Todd
it.
is
that
like
way.
Vladimir
He's an
Todd
emo
was
vampire.
the emo vampire book. Back in middle school. It came out while we were in middle school.
It came out like peak vampire Twilight craze, and then it
Yeah.
capitalized on the emo
Subculture.
subculture. Yeah, I almost said subgenre.
kind of both. But yeah, Vladimir Todd. I actually have, you know what, Frankie, one of these days we'll do a deep dive on Vladimir Todd.
Amanda, you're gonna have to lead that one. I refuse.
Well, I'm gonna need your help with it.
Okay.
But all right, continuing on.
With Todd or with vampires are gay?
Vampires are gay.
Vampires are gay.
Okay. Yeah. So in today's era, society has become much more accepting and supportive of the LGBTQIA plus community. Like, don't get me wrong, homophobia is still a very real issue, and there's a lot of work to be done before the world is fully accepting of a community, but it's a hell of a lot better than it was in the 1800s.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, using homophobia to other vampiric characters isn't going to work. It's the same way racial tensions and anti-Semitism is not going to work to other the vampires. You just can't do it.
I mean, you can, but nobody's
You
gonna
can, but then you're going to get canceled.
Yeah,
and now we've
nobody's gonna
embraced that vampires are fucking cool. Have you fucking seen
Exactly.
Blade? Have you seen Blade? That guy, well, fucking
Yeah.
chill the fuck out. All right, I can feel you. I can feel you from over here.
What do you mean chill out? What do you mean chill out?
Chill out.
Have you seen Blade? What a fucking dope character.
Yes, I've seen Blade.
Yeah, he was born a vampire. Are you shitting me?
Hey, Hannah, I think Frankie has a man crush.
On Blade? Yeah. Love Blade.
Blade is pretty badass. You got to admit it.
How do you feel about Blade Trinity?
That movie's pretty bad, but it still got Blade in it, so
It's real bad. All right. So we've gotten to accepting vampires and accepting the LGBT
Yeah,
community.
and with that, we pretty much come to a close. The original Gothic vampires from back in the Victorian era, they're gay. It came from a absolutely terrible, disgusting, horrible, horrible reason, but they're gay. And you can't tell me otherwise.
I agree with you, Hannah. And
Thank you.
I think that's why in all of these like modern vampire things, it's either the vampire is the hero, as in Interview with the Vampire or Twilight, or the vampire is just one of the fucking ugliest sons of bitches you've ever seen in your life.
And you know what? That's another form of othering.
To make them less cool. Because like what's that? The last voyage of the Demeter?
I've never
is a new it's a newer movie, and it's a Dracula story.
Yeah.
And this man's fucking hideous. It's just a creature.
Like Nosferatu.
It's uglier than Nosferatu. I won't have you in here besmirching the name of Nosferatu.
No,
right? I won't.
Nosferatu is great. I love Nosferatu.
But
he's appeared in SpongeBob.
It's this dude that's just like it's more creature than man.
Yes.
Which again, othering.
Othering what? Animals? What do you mean othering?
Well, you know.
It's a fucking bat person. What do you mean?
I'm sorry, does he have a soul?
It's a bat person. What do you mean? Does he have a soul?
So was Man Bat from the Batman video games, all right? And we still cared about him.
I don't care about Man Bat.
You should, because he was Kirk Langstrom.
I fucking care about the fucking Dracula from Last Voyage of the Demeter. Jesus Christ. This man, this person, this woman's over here. This woman's over here caring about Dracula from this movie. I'm gonna fucking lose my mind.
I think we've lost the plot.
Dracula?
We've lost the plot.
We're always gonna end up losing the plot.
We've lost the plot.
Oh, so
vampires are gay. End of story.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think any of us were going to debate that fact. But
I mean, I kind of presented you with some hard evidence, so
yeah, they purposely made them gay so that you would hate them. And now that we don't hate gay people because that's wrong and you shouldn't do that, um, they're dope as shit because they're just fucking cool.
They've always been dope as shit, though.
Yeah, yeah, they
We
always
just
have.
refuse to admit it.
Yeah, yeah, I guarantee you.
How many fangirls did Dracula have back in the day?
I know how many people were like drawing pictures of Dracula like behind their like old parchment papers and stuff, like keeping it underneath their mattress and stuff, and being like, "Oh man, nobody has to know." It's like the people who are like who have like the guilty pleasure nowadays. Are like nobody can know. How many people were drawing Dracula, buff ass Dracula?
I don't know. I
Let's
was
get a
trying
Ouija
to.
board and ask.
How many fan arts were there?
If you, our dear listeners, have ever come across some Dracula fan art from the Victorian era, please let us know.
Oh my god.
Also,
Please send us links.
let me know what my boy Heinrich looks like, because I want to know if he was a cool dude too.
My question is real quick, and this will be my last tangent for the evening. But so Renfield
Episode's almost over, so it better be.
Yeah, so Renfield came out,
Yeah.
and Nicolas Cage. I haven't seen it, but Nicolas Cage is Dracula, and he's supposed to be the bad guy, right?
Yeah.
I believe so, yes.
Are you trying to tell me that the reason why Dracula's the bad guy in that movie is because Nicolas Cage is ugly?
Nah, he's the bad guy because he's a shitty boss.
Okay. I mean,
And
I don't find Nicolas Cage attractive unless he's something for treasure.
we all find we can all relate to shitty bosses.
Yeah, that's fair.
Oh, yes.
Mine's kind of nice now, but I've
Oh,
had
my boss right now is cool as hell.
Yeah,
Love my current boss, but in the past I've had
Frankie has no comment.
I like my boss.
Oh, okay.
I've had shitty bosses when I was
I
working
do.
at gas stations.
I was gonna say, excellent job, Hannah.
Thank you. I hope that the listeners have learned something about vampires today.
Fantastic first episode, Hannah.
Yeah,
Coming out the gates swinging. It's only going to go downhill from here, folks.
Wow, that's an indictment on me and you, Amanda.
No,
think.
that was actually
a
about me.
direct attack, like
No,
immediate direct
that
assault.
was to me. That was to me because this was the most serious topic I could think of, and after my first episode, it's just gonna go
I'm gonna let you
off the
know.
walls.
I'm gonna have very few serious episodes. We're gonna have like this, and Amanda's gonna come in with her like serious episodes. I'm gonna have like, hey, y'all want to talk about the fucking X-Men?
Hell yes, I do.
Well, to be
I
fair,
want to talk about
okay,
Jubilee from the X-Men. Let's go.
I do love Jubilee. But to be fair, right, most of my episodes are probably gonna be really fucking stupid, K-pop related, video game related, comic book related, right? I don't have many serious topics. However, I am a therapist, so I don't know. Am I allowed to give like a sneak peek, like a little preview?
Sure, we're releasing this episode or your episode tomorrow when this goes up.
Yeah. Okay. So, as a therapist, we have been in an age where therapy talk has become, I guess, widely accepted. And my stance on this is therapists don't use therapy talk. I don't that's gonna be where I leave it, right? As a therapist who works with other therapists quite closely, therapy talk is not utilized by therapists, and we'll get into more of that tomorrow.
Yeah,
so
we look forward to it.
Listen to us tomorrow. We are let's take care of some business before we end the show.
Yeah.
Leave us a review.
Mm-hmm.
Give us a good rating. 5 stars only, please.
5-star only reviews. Yeah, we don't want any of your 1-star reviews. Get them out of here.
Mm-mm.
Keep them at home.
like
If
and
you came
subscribe
here
to
for the
this.
Christian Parenting Podcast and we're disappointed, we're sorry. Please don't leave us a review.
I'm at home like Dracula from Last Voyage of the Demeter. Don't want to see it.
No, you know what? No, I want to see it. I want to see it. Please comment. I want to see it.
If you want to leave a 1-star review, send that directly to Amanda. Then don't send Hannah and I don't want to see it.
Mm-mm.
No. I just want to. I want to see like people who like that movie. I just want to hear their comments.
I don't care if they like the movie. What?
Oh, I thought that's you would say.
No,
What?
I said I don't want to see the reviews because I don't want to like an ugly vampire. I don't want to see.
Ah, okay.
Yeah,
All
it was
right.
a joke, Amanda.
I missed it. I missed it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it went over the head. Uh, I've lost my train of thought. Reviews, yeah, leave us a review. Share
Like
this
and
with some friends.
subscribe.
Share this with
Share it with everyone in your contact
yeah.
book.
Subscribe to us so you get updates on when new episodes are uploaded. Like we said earlier, for this first week, we're going to upload every day, and then we'll become a weekly podcast. So we will see you tomorrow. And finally, in the description below, there will be an email address posted. If you have any questions for us or comments on anything that we've said in an episode or something you'd like to contribute to the episode, send us an email and we might read it out.
Send
Yeah.
us some topics too.
Oh,
Yeah,
for
send us some
sure.
ideas
Mhm.
that you'd like to something you'd like to see on an episode of the show. And this has been the first episode of Nothing to See Here.
I'm Hannah.
I'm Frankie.
And I'm Dracula.
Bye.
What?
Bye, guys.
Bye.